Habari ma Afrika, mimi ni King. Nina furaha kukutana na wewe. Asante kwa kutazama King Said So. Ladies and gentlemen, today, Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, depending on when you will get this video, I want to speak about this beautiful podcast from the EFF, led by Sihle Lonzi, the student command president, visited or interviewing Naledi Chirwa and Kokotso. I mean, this, guys, if you missed this interview, this podcast, you have to go watch it, because there are so many points that Naledi and Kokotso are dropping. It's crazy. Education from early childhood development to varsity. What is the difference between the haves and the have-not? You know, where you have schooled, where you have went to crèche, where you have went to daycare, where you have went to varsity, what area you grew up in, what type of experiences you had at school ultimately shapes the type of person that you are. Take it from me, from a person that has been in 10 different schools, from grade 1 to matric. I'm telling you, school shapes the character and molds the person that you're going to be forever. It cannot be, African people, that we take the early developmental stages of our black children and give it to the colonizer's hand and say, listen, our colonizer, please educate our children, because we cannot do it ourselves. Just imagine, Africa. Think about it properly. Why would you trust your colonizers and their colonizing education system, that you say that you don't trust these people with your life, but you trust them with your children? It just shows us where our priorities lie as African people. And that is why we must build the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture, PASETA. I love Naledi, and Kokotso impressed me with the knowledge that he dropped. Let's talk about that and much more.
Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Said So. I'm your host, Kagiso Ngwane Zinjiva, Ngwane Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And this time around, we're speaking education with the EFF. Listen to me very well, ladies and gentlemen. We as African people are going to regret not building schools for our children, not building institutions that will better the lives of our children. You guys who are regulars here on King Said So know that I preach this thing day in and day out. Build schools to program your children, to decolonize the minds of your children so that they can have a better future than us. The problem is this issue that is called basic education. It is a problem. The standards is not the same. Some private schools write different exams from your public schools. Some private schools write international standards. How do you expect your child to compete with that child when it comes to varsity entrance, with marks, with knowledge, with the know-how? How do you expect a child of your African descent to compete with this one that has a clearly unfair advantage? Take it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I've been to many private schools, fortunately for myself, and I can tell you, and I've been to public schools also, I can tell you there's a huge difference in the mindset of children in a certain school compared to children in another school. Now, the issue actually starts at early childhood development, ECDs. And I'm telling you, from there, if you start at the wrong footing, your child starts already at a disadvantaged position compared to other children. And Naledi breaks this thing, she breaks it down nicely for us.
And we have to conceptualize it in it ideologically as well and historically as well, right? So how does early childhood development come to being? That happens because of socialist feminists who saw a gap, who were like, no, la bantwana la bahlala nathi siyabakhulisa, and the government is not contributing to their development. So Nina and the private sector, you must all subsidize early childhood development so that they are ready to go into the education system and eventually even become your employers.
Yeah, that's an interesting
your
point.
Employees, yes.
My understanding of creche when I grew up, I don't know it like as a formal structure. It's like
yes.
mama who is retired, like you speak to the family, an old woman who's just looking after some of us, and then we stay there.
It was the case for me.
Yeah.
Kanjalo, because I did go to daycare, but by the time I went, Ukokama was saying pegile, right? Like I was 4 and I could read. I was 4 and I could read. This is the cat. This is the dog, right?
Yeah.
And that shows you the power of early childhood development. That intervention that my grandmother did in my early years pushed me forward until I finished high school. I think everything else after that became a breeze because I had the foundations when I was still young. And that's what we want to give to everybody else. And in the way, ECD is not only about the issue of education, the issue of practitioners as well. It's also an issue of poverty.
Sure.
Yeah, it's an issue of poverty because our kids are stunted chronically.
Yeah.
A very large portion of them do not get the necessities that they're supposed to get in that age to be able to build and to reach their developmental milestones. And the discussion document also makes a reflection on this as well, to say, don't just take them to school. Give them what they need to be in school, right? Make sure that their families are involved in their schooling process. With Mafia, with basic education, grade R, grade 1, and going on forth, they are given the necessary tools to be able to compete in the world. When they get to high school, the foundation is already laid. The fact that we've got grade 5 for comprehension, like we are funda, white people own 72% of South Africa's land, but you can't comprehend it. It does not make sense to you. And once you get to grade 4, and that is still your reality, imagine most of your grade 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're supposed to get the stage where everything gets complicated now. Send us over for our eggs. Awukakazi ukuthi usolve usho ukuthini. Awukakamcomprehend ukuthi usolve kahle kahle. What is to solve? There is no comprehension.
I know my African people, because of our economical situation, we are not looking for the best crèches. We are looking for a daycare. We're just looking somewhere where we can drop our children and we can fetch them after we come back from work. That is where everything starts. Your child is already at a disadvantage. You know, when I moved my family from Kuruman to Kimberley, my child was in a Tswana speaking, let's say a daycare, or that taught him Tswana, and I appreciate that very much. But when he came here, we went to, because of understanding how this thing works, I tried my best to get him to the best crèche that I can afford. You understand? And I remember back in, I think it was 2000 and, when was it? 17, 18, somewhere there. I was paying something like $850 per month back then. And I'm sure I'm quite sure now it's expensive, because when I look at what I'm paying for my daughter, but we must. If your child goes to a crèche where she comes back at 4 years old, at 3 years old, she cannot write her name already. She does not know the alphabet already. You are waiting for your child to go to grade RR to learn how to say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, the other children in other ECDs, they are already so far ahead. When they get to grade 1, the teacher just puts them in the front of the class because they are so much advanced. They know everything the teacher asks, they raise their hand. Your child who comes from Umsobovu daycare is so disadvantaged. That is why we Africans must be intentional with the type of schools and the ECDs that we build for our children. Let's have a spirit of excellence. Jinama Africa, it's only us who does not care about education. The Chinese, they value education like nobody's business. The Dutch, the Afrikaners, they value education like nobody's business. Tina, we are okay to be basic education. We are okay with that nonsense. Not in this channel. Not under my watch. We will build Paseta, and it will be one of the best schools in Africa, and it will be in the top 10 best schools in the world. That is the standards that we must raise our children to. And the sad thing that Kokotso says is that our children, because of going to these government schools where the government officials themselves don't even take their children there, they are not even ready for grade R because of where they attended a preschool and crèche, and they are not ready for varsity and college because of where they attended high school. Just imagine.
And I think this is the argument that even FISMASFAL makes, that we are late. The students that finish matric in the public education system are not prepared for post-matric schooling. The children that go to grade 1 are not prepared, from grade R. And this discussion is a discussion that I think the EFF needs to look at closer, because I think we've done well in inspiring and winning the hearts of young people. And it shows in the elections. If you study the election results of Gauteng, wherever there's a voting station and there's an institution of higher learning, we have won those VTs, and it shows that young people are receiving the ideas of the EFF. And the question of literacy, the question of being able to read, the question of I think this discussion document even speaks about the collapse of the
and this point we're going to repeat over and over. And I'm not shaming those who cannot afford. I'm saying the reason why some African children are at a disadvantage is because of the education that they got from grade R to matric. I remember because I was in different schools. When I was doing business economics in grade 11, I was in a school in Brongerspruit by the name of Cultura High School. Actually, I graduated from, matriculated in that school because I attended grade 11 and 12 there. The teacher who was teaching us business studies did not have a business himself. In grade 10, I attended another school where the teacher was running multiple businesses and was teaching business studies. Now, which one is better? Because Cultural High School was a semi-government, semi-private, and the other one was a pure private school. Do you guys understand? Boys High, Kimberley Boys High. So you tell me, if our children are not prepared mentally, our children are not prepared emotionally, they don't even understand what is the consequences of not applying early, how their whole school is not, they are not concerned. I'm talking about from the principal to the teachers to the learners. Nobody is concerned about next year. They just want pens down, matric ball, and just write exams and take your t-shirts and write stupid messages on there. I don't know, where did you guys put your t-shirts? You guys that matriculated before 2010, where are your t-shirts? Your shirts that you wrote nonsense messages there. In other schools, you find like Cultural High School, there was a box of donation. They say, hey guys, please, don't write nonsense on your school. Donate your school uniform, from the shoes to the socks to the blazer. Donate it to the next generation that is coming the following year. Just imagine the difference in the mindset. So it is not that you are stupid. It is not that your child does not know. Your child is in a school where the parents, the school government body is non-existent. The teachers, they don't care. The principal is just there for a salary, because there's no consequence management. if we don't fix this issue of education, Tina Abantu Abamnyama, we are going nowhere. And that is why I'm so passionate about Paseta, because I know that is the grassroots, that is the foundation where we need to start. There is many other institutions we can build that can develop our township and everything, but schools are the backbone of everything. They're the heartbeat, actually, of where everything starts and where everything is going to end. I'm telling you. So don't think that African children are backwards. They are not backwards. It's because where they are attending school. And Katlego explains that.
Limitations. It's not that black people are backward. It's that they are subjected to poor education system.
Yeah. Yes.
And once you start to say to them, let's decolonize, you must be patient with them, precisely because this is designed, for them, to not access education. There's a lack of skills, but equally, it's difficult to enter, certain industries. I saw the discussion document also speaks about the failure rate, in these industries. And it makes us look deeper into the question that Fees Must Fall was asking, to say who controls.
Kokotso explains it very well. Now, poor education kills your child's confidence, kills the teacher's confidence, kills the principal's confidence. You guys, you are not even paying school fees anymore. Some of you afford. Where I am, unfortunately, I'm in the school government body, and I'm tasked to speak to parents about fees, because they say it's better when it comes from the parent component and we speak to other parents. And you ask parents to say, guys, those who does not afford, come to the school, bring your 3-month bank statement. Let us check just how much you can afford according to according to your income and everything. Parents don't want to even do that. They are embarrassed because their salary slip will show that they actually can afford. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Because why take your child to that school that is so expensive, and it's not expensive actually. It's less than 5,000, 6,000 rand per annum, where my son is, and they just don't pay school fees. That message is trickled down from the principal, school government body, teachers. Teachers are demotivated because whenever something is wrong in the class, a window is broken, the roof is leaking, toilets are not flushing, the school needs money, and you will be so surprised how little the Department of Education gives to the schools. Little money. So it is where your child attends school that has an impact on how it's going to turn out. I strongly believe that. If that was not the case, we all would be having our children in public school, and these politicians, they will take their children to public schools. These politicians are paying over 100,000 rand, per annum for their children. Why? To give their children an advantage into the job market, and also not that, just at life. A person that is educated reasons differently from a person that's not educated. You know what I'm saying? And another thing that plays a big role is this issue of sports, extracurricular activities. You guys, you don't know how much development children get in this outside the classroom. Sometimes it is more important than what they're getting in the classroom. Nas.
A little bit, Naledi. I like that both of you are engaged in arts and sports. Yeah. So we know that in your white schools or previously model C schools, sports and arts is a very important aspect of the education. Like, it's part of the curriculum. Like, if you don't pass athletics or whatever or what, you're not gonna progress. And we don't see that in our schools. I mean, how much of an impact do you think that aspect can have, even in basic education, for example, yeah.
It does, because remember, masikhuluma ngama developmental milestones abantwana, sikhuluma the overall development of the child, right?
Sure.
We did oversight visits not so long ago, Saya Mnyezane and numerous other schools, where we saw that particularly in black schools or black dominated schools in the townships, ukuthi abana ama sports grounds, abana ama sports facilities, right? That means our children don't play. And plays a very big part of early development in the education system. You know, that's why kuculwa, that's why kushaya izandla, that's why kudlala bo ringa roses, a bucket full of roses. Our children don't have access to that. And not only does that thwart their psychological development, it thwarts their physical development as well. That's why in the rugby and transformation becomes a pressing issue, because now you're talking about nutrition and you're talking about poverty, because how are we supposed to bulk up?
And they're big.
Hey,
we can't compete.
The conditions just meted against us, right? And then you go Lair school. Now I went to a Lair school. Right? I went to, even though my mother didn't pay the school fees.
I like how Una lady is explaining this, because Mina, like I said, being in so many different schools, I was struggling in class, but in the sport field, I corner. No. Nobody beat me. I ran up to national level, provincial colors, and in multi-different sporting codes, tennis, swimming, you name it. I've got medals and cups. Some of them are lost. My mother did not know where to put them, because I've been collecting medals from grade 1 up to matric. You understand? So that developed my character different from what a classroom would. You know, the psychology of playing in a sport team, a rugby, in a soccer, you know, athletics, where you are alone, where you need the discipline, where you need to listen to your coach. Your coach is giving you advanced techniques on where to throw the javelin, how to throw a javelin. All of those things develop a child's psyche differently from what the teacher can do in the classroom. The coach, the trainer, they've got a different type of input into the child's life. Where your child is, the class teacher is the coach in the sports field. The class teacher who has never played cricket is now teaching cricket because the school has to participate in some cricket tournament. He or she herself does not know anything much about cricket except for watching it on TV. Now tell me, I'm saying this because that's what happened at my child's school. And now they were beaten so badly, the morale of the children when they come back to the car when you go and fetch them. You know how fast the other children, the other school are bowling, how good they are batting. You know, it's just unfair. It's unfair. Maybe they could have won if they played soccer, but cricket and rugby, you don't even have a rugby field there by your child's school. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen? So it's not about only what happens in the classroom. Also, when you go to look for space for your children, look for a school that has got sports. Your child must not only learn. There must be some play, because some of them, like I said, they develop a bold character there and understanding. Because in the sports field, a fail or a number 2, a number 3, or even a number last teaches a children a different lesson than writing a test and failing it. Writing a test and failing it demoralizes a child. A child can be number 3 or number 4 and say, if only I can train better, I can get there. So the issue with that is that in South Africa, we've got a 2-tier education system where our children are divided from the poor to the rich, meaning private and public schools.
Yeah, so South Africa is essentially divided into the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
Right? Which is just another way of the reality of the black and the white. And I remember where I used to go. It was a war school in Vetborg, war school, the Adelar. They would literally delay our curriculum because there was maths and there was Wiskunde.
Yes.
Right.
What is Wiskunde?
It's mathematics in
mathematics in Afrikaans. So they would write the notes on the board in English and write the notes on the board in Afrikaans. And it really delayed the curriculum, but it shows you something that the infrastructure of the education system is essentially built to have better facilities for these kids. Afrikaner kids sometimes would not even be that bright. But if they were good at athletics, they'd be incentivized by the school. But you still have a situation where here in Gauteng, parents are applying for these schools. But because they know that you had a subsidy in primary, they will reject you. You know, and in January, we're dealing with these cases of grade 8s and grade 1s that cannot access these particular schools that are within walking proximity. You know, as according to the policy, but they will not be admitted, which shows you that there's factions, you know, and cliques or in these schools, which are historically white-only schools. And you would see that the SGB is a faction of the Afrikaners, and they want to keep the purity of the school and sustain that. And I think...
I remember I wanted to change my son's school, but it's very difficult, guys, in Kimberley to get school, especially in the middle grades. It's very, very difficult. Kimberley does not have a lot of schools. The population of Kimberley is outgrowing its infrastructure, especially the educational infrastructure. So there's another private school that not too far from where I'm staying. It's called New Park Primary School. It's a private school. So I went there, and I went to inquire about the school. It's not too far. It's like 2 streets away from where I stay. Hey Nina, so when I get there, the receptionist stands up, greets me so well. I'm well dressed, ladies and gentlemen. Every time I look like a millionaire. You'd think you're king icon. So they take me. I'm like, no man. She says, sir, would you like to see the classes? It was January this year. Would you like to see the classes? The classes were already in succession. The learners were in class. Now she takes me to every class, ladies and gentlemen. From a person who has been to 10 different schools, some very good schools. I was shocked. The way those learners respects a visitor. And I was in Boys High, ladies and gentlemen, the old Kimberley Boys High, you know, the proper, not this Kimberley Boys High today, where we see someone in Boys High, we stand in queues with the good morning, sir, good morning, ma'am, can I assist you, whatever. This is a primary school, and I'm seeing these small children do that. They stand up. When you walk into a class, they stand up, they greet the teacher, and the teachers talk to them. And there's this thing that they said. I can't remember what they said when they greeted me, but it was like a practice, a ritual that they were saying there, saying no. And say thank you for visiting New Park Primary School. We hope you'll have a wonderful day. Something like that. And I was like, what on earth is this? What on earth is, you go to, you go to schools, learners who've got their feet on the desk, and you walk in there, they don't even care. I was in another school called Lar School Alma. There was no boy that walked around with shoes that did not blank, that was not shining. I grew up in that school, that thing. It was grade 6 and 7. Grade 6 and 7, I was in Lar School Alma, just the other side of Limpopo. Hey guys, that thing, it carried me. After I left that school, I went to other schools where I was looking. I went to Althea High School in Brongospruit for grade 8. I was shocked to see other children's school shoes looking the way they were looking. So I installed this thing in my child that your shoe, nobody must have a shoe that shines better than yours. Nobody in the school. So again, as they were taking me in that school, sorry I'm taking so long. I want to bring you to this point. She's taking me to the IT class, to computer class, not IT class, computer class, everything. Then when she comes back, she says to me, "Sir, we have not talked the price. I haven't asked the price. I've got the forms. She has given me the forms." She says, "No, sir, you know, the difference about our school is that we've got 100% pass rate, and we don't believe in homeworks. We don't believe that you should do a work that the teachers should be doing. So all the work is done here at school." And I'm like, what? No homeworks? Wow. This gives an opportunity for a child to be a child when they get home and do their chores, knowing that their school work is sorted out. And then she says something that amazed me. She says, "Listen, sir, at this school, we write international exams. I think she said we are on an Oxford curriculum. I might be speaking under correction there, but she said we are under an Oxford curriculum, so our exams that we write are internationally recognized." Imagine when umntwana wakho ungena basic education school supplied by your black government. You see the difference what is going on here, guys. And that brings us back to why the Democratic Alliance is fighting not to include the black people into these great schools, to say no integration of blacks and whites.
Yes.
Partner, yeah.
So at basic level, it's about transformation.
Sure.
At the very basic level, it's about transformation. I think over the years, and because the EFF made a lot of contributions to the Bella Bill, we speak very passionately about it, right? If you look, especially in Gauteng, there was this system that was very wrong that got introduced. Honorable Leuti, because that reinforced the very same divide we're speaking about. Because it means Kokotso would not have been to Aderlarda. And those requirements have to be broken down because they reinforce the apartheid spatial planning that we're speaking about, and the racial divide, because the suburban schools are for those who stay in the suburbs, are for those who are Afrikaners. And it's not just the issue of geographics that separates our kids as well, it's also the issue of languages. Right? Kuthiwa isikolo is an African school. Uzibuza ukuthi i-African school kanjani in Pretoria, where the majority of the people in Pretoria speak Setswana, or where they speak Northern Sotho. Why isn't all the schools reflective of the geographics in Pretoria? Who is this minority? Who majority of the Lyre schools, the world schools, is actually after them, but we've got a small group of schools in the townships there, that are not given attention 30 years into democracy. Right? So that particular divide is what the Bella Bill seeks to destroy or to dismantle. To say, no, there shouldn't be a language that preserves a minority, that preserves a cultural superiority over those of the majority of the people that stay in that particular place. And those are the things that Abo John Stenies were fighting against. They were fighting against the issue of SGPs.
So Naledi says, the Bella Bill is about transformation at the basic level. I agree with her, but the bigger word there is integration. We want to integrate our children, and guys, it's so important. I told you again some time ago about there's another school that is right in front of my house, but it's a pure African school, and it's great. You can see the sports field, the classes, the learners, and everything. But very good high school, and I wanted my child to go and attend there, but I'm not going to allow my child to learn in Afrikaans. That will never happen. Never in my life will that happen. If I had a choice, my child would not be learning Afrikaans at school. If I had a choice, I would not be learning Afrikaans at school. I don't see how learning Afrikaans benefited me as an African child. In fact, it wasted my time, because I became weaker in my mother's tongue and my father's tongue, of which I could have been excellent if those tongues were integrated into the educational system. So, this issue of African schools and whatever has killed the transformation of schools and the transformation of communities and schools and the development of South Africa at large. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? So it really, this thing of language is a problem. It's a big problem, and we're going to face it also at Baseta, but I've got a strategy on how I'm going to get through that one. We're already planning for that one. We know what is going to happen because of how our school will be looking. Many people will be wanting to bring their children, and later, but those are. So let's speak again with the issue of, some of these schools, you can't control these white schools because they are private owned, they are on private land. And the issue with public schools is that some of the public schools are on private land where the government is paying a lease. Bafet.
And another part of it is that because they own the land where the school is.
Sure.
They own the land where these schools are built on. Same, even in regards to these poor schools like Otuze Nendlela, the government actually leases the land where the schools are. We don't even own the land where our children go to school, and that is why we have a small. And
it's called
group.
A public school.
It's a public school, and the government pays rent on a land where the landowner is not even in the country anymore and hasn't been in the country for the past 60 years. But the government pays rent to that particular person because our children go to this particular school.
Yeah.
Those things need to be dismantled, and not just in the interest of dealing with the transformative era just on surface level. They must go down and trickle down even to the land issue, because that's what the Bella Bill is bringing to light. Dressed in apartheid colors. They are speaking precisely to that. They are saying that on father's land.
And that's the issue. A lot of people think that government owns a lot of land, everything. Ask people who work for the Department of Public Works. Ask for the people like myself who work for the Department of Agriculture. Government does not own a lot of land compared to private. Nothing close to 10% that government owns in the entirety of South Africa. If they did, they were going to build their own school on their own land. Why? You can imagine how much that land is, how much their leases are for government to pay to build a school on someone else's land and not buy the land. The person say, no, I'm not going to sell this land to you. I'm going to, I'm going to lease it out for a contract of 10 years and we'll renew it every 10 years. And government says, oh yes, sir, we'll do that. And that is not only white people that own that land. There's some of the comrades that are working, benefiting from that type of those type of arrangements. So for me, it is sad, this issue of land, because it goes back to why we are where we are as South Africa. So someone sent me a video of another YouTuber and said, King, you need to address this issue. And I said, okay, I will address it for you, because I can explain to you very clearly that there's a difference between South Africa and South Africans. There's a big difference between South Africa and South Africans. South Africa is doing good. South Africans are struggling. That's a topic that we must have. Just keep that in mind. Maybe I'll do it for you guys too today. Maybe we'll even go live and talk about this topic, because I'm telling you, other people that are coming from outside South Africa are coming to South Africa and doing well. They stay in South Africa. When are you South Africans? You don't really stay in South Africa because you don't own any land. You don't even have a physical address. Just imagine this type of struggle, but you were born here in South Africa. We'll talk about that. It's very important for us as Africans to be concerned about the type of quality that our children get. And that is the reason why we are building the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. Paseta is an intervention by Africans to say we are no longer going to leave things to government. The government is failing us. The government is failing our children. We are standing up and we are asking and calling for 10,000 Africans to each donate 50 rand each month so that we can build the schools for our children. Very important. Guys, you rely on politics as much as you want. Politics will disappoint us. Politicians will disappoint us. You are delusional if you think politicians are not looking at their stomach. The politicians, once they get into parliament and they understand how the system is and they understand how helpless they are in changing this constitution, they start looking at their own pockets. I promise you, we as the community, we are always left outside. And it is time for us to stand up and say, we will build our own school. If the government helps us, then all well. But we are starting the process. We are not going to wait for them. Imagine 2029 comes and we have not built a black independent school in South Africa. Just imagine. We are talking about 35 years of democracy. Nobody has built a school in South Africa. Maybe the EFF will try. Maybe other parties are not even mentioning this. It's not even in their vocabulary. You understand what I'm trying to say? Let us as a society build the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture and teach our children history, science, economics, technology and agriculture so that our children can be super students and they can be ready for the world that is out there, because the world is cold and heartless and it will chew them if they are not ready. But not our children, not the Paseta children. They will be saved. They will go in the world with enough ammunition to fight the enemy. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? So thank you to everybody that has donated to the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. We appreciate every single donation. The team that is organizing the event is having a meeting. You guys know we're having a fundraising event at the launch of Paseta on the 4th and 5th of April here in Kimberley. So please, ladies and gentlemen, the tickets are going to be a little bit costly, but it's because it is for fundraising purposes that we need to start building the classes of Paseta, and we need your contribution for that. So please be in the lookout for the posters that will be dropping before the end of December. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you here in Kimberley. Kimberley will be welcoming you guys. And there's some sad news that I have to share, because one of the founding members, the founding members of Paseta, Jabu Khopane's mother passed away yesterday at 4 o'clock. And I want to say, my brother, you are in our hearts in this difficult time. And as Paseta, we appreciate that your mother has given birth to a soldier that believes in building, a bright future for the coming generation. So may her soul rest in peace, and may you find strength to push on in this difficult time. We will see you very soon, Jabu. And we can just leave a message of condolence for the brother Ujabu Khopane, Jabulani Khopane, one of the founding members of Paseta, ladies and gentlemen, who has lost his mother to cancer, to the fight against cancer. So yeah, I'm sorry to end on that note, but until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child, do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.